Hi, good evening, everyone. Sorry, there was a bit of internet connectivity, but my name is Elsa Marie De Silva, and I'm the founder and CEO of Red Dot Foundation. And welcome to Sunday Reflections, wherever you are joining in from. And as you know, Sunday Reflections is a series that I started during the pandemic to check in with friends from different parts of the world and in India, find out how they are doing, what motivates them, and how they are coping during this, abnormal time. So today, joining me from Bonn is Supriya Dharkar, who I recently met when I did the UN Summer Academy program. How are you, Supriya? How's
I'm
it in Bonn?
good. It's good. It's good. The cases are rising a little bit again, but it's been fine, not as crazy as before, and things are slowly starting to open. So it's been good. Yes. And how are you doing, Elsa?
I'm fine, except that over here we are still in lockdown mode in a way. But I think it's self imposed because when I look out of the window, I can see a lot of people out there. However, the number of cases are rising and it's like almost 90,000 every day. So you don't really want to take a chance given that the hospitals are overburdened. So I'm staying at home because I live with my mom, who's a senior citizen, and I don't really want to put her at risk. But having said that, the last 6 months have been really strange in a way. And you're a climate fellow at UNFCCC. So tell us, what does this time mean for you, and especially for climate activists and climate enthusiasts all over the world, where they've been trying to push home a point that we need to pay attention, and suddenly the world just makes us halt, and we can then see for ourselves why it is necessary to take stock and take action. So can you share a little bit about your experiences, and also what's your experience as a climate fellow?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Well, as Elsa introduced, I'm a climate fellow at United Nations Climate Change Secretariat. My background has been in mechanical engineering, but specifically focused on sustainability. And I joined the Secretariat some time back, to almost 1.5, 2 years back now. Um, what what this pandemic has shown is, number one, in terms of hopefulness, like just collective action across countries, an exchange of ideas that has been happening. So if there is enough political will and interest in making a change, there is a possibility to do that. And in terms of where we are and in the climate change scenario, I think we are pretty much, um, it's not even climate change, as we say, it's climate emergency, and we need to address that and talk about it. And also, it's time to act, and it's time to put pressure on your governments to do so. And this has just been a very strange 6 months, as you highlighted. At UN Climate Change Secretariat, we also help host a bunch of conferences where countries and delegations meet up. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, these have been postponed, and they're being rescheduled. So there's been all sorts of different things going on. Yeah. So it's been pretty crazy.
Do you think, Supriya, that this time people will actually take notice and do something, or when this lockdown um, changes things? I don't want to say it's over because in many parts of the world it's still a lockdown, especially Melbourne, where my sister lives. But we are going to go through these spurts: lockdown, unlock, lock, unlock. But since you're in Europe and people are moving very freely, they're actually going on holidays, they're traveling between countries. Do you see that people are a little more wiser than they were earlier, or there's no difference?
That is the hope, right? I don't know. I mean, you see a mix kind of bag. Some people are very much cautious, as you were mentioning, that you are staying home. You have an elderly mother at home as well. So some people are definitely being more cautious. There's definitely a little bit of resistance or hesitance on going out, and going to crowded places. People are preferring, maybe if they want to meet their friends, instead of going to a restaurant, go to a park, which is great. There is a shift. Is that shift significant enough to make a change? I'm not sure. I'm a little worried about it in ways that people are going back to normal, and maybe when they go back to normal, it's going to be even more with a full force. So yes, hopefully people are wiser, and I think having a conversation about it, and through these mediums that thanks to you, you're doing these Sunday reflections, I think we definitely need to talk about how to get back, but not really back to normal. How do we get to this new normal and build a more impactful kind of society, right? How do we impact through our actions? So I think yes, definitely. I wouldn't say people are that cautious. I hope there are more, and we are moving towards a correct direction, at least. Yeah.
What about governments? Do you think that a lot of them have now started to pay attention to the climate crisis, especially, you know, watching the impact of COVID-19?
Well, when it comes to climate emergency, you also see like post-apocalyptic pictures coming out of the US right now, and the West Coast. When we started the year, if you remember, there's so much that has happened that it's hard to remember, but we started this year with the Australian fires.
And you know, I was in Australia at that time for Christmas and New Year, and the bushfires. I was in Melbourne, and the air was so thick, it was hard to breathe. And you would have never imagined you're in Australia, but you would think you're in Delhi or someplace like that. But yeah, it was so. It doesn't feel like it's so long ago, or it feels very long ago that it was. We started the year with the bushfires, but who would have thought about COVID?
Yes, yes. And actually, my sister lives in Melbourne as well. So she was sending me some pictures and some videos from there. And yeah, it just, they're devastating pictures, and the loss of wildlife species, but also people's home. And this is, and so the wildfires and bushfires are one thing, and then there's also other sort of severe and slow onset events that are happening, and people are actually at that first line of defense, and it's already happening. There's also migration happening. So we just in terms of climate emergency, I think what COVID has done has all the more, or this pandemic has really done is, and we are seeing these effects on the GDP. Countries' GDP is going dropping down, but also in terms of the poorer becoming more poor, right? Like, so there's going to be more of that divide, more of the digital divide too, probably more of the economic divide, which is going to make it even, which then climate change is going to impact vulnerable communities even more. And so this has exasperated the problem that climate change was bringing, and it's very worrisome, honestly.
Supriya, how did you get into this field? You trained as a mechanical engineer, and now you're, part of the secretariat of the UN climate, body. So how did you get here?
Yeah, well, I actually always was inspired into environmental engineering, and I was wondering whether I wanted to do environmental engineering, mechanical engineering, and actually did my mechanical engineering from Vellore Institute of Technology. They had at that time this course, which was mechanical with specialization in energy engineering, and that was a course that was available, I think, at when I was looking for my bachelor's only in at two places. VIT being one of those. And so that's where I started my journey. And first, I was just concentrated on solar energy technologies, clean energy. I also worked in Pune for some time in concentrated solar power plants and so on. And then that's how the journey began. And then I was looking at buildings and how to make buildings more energy efficient, because especially now, if you think of like all the internet space that we are using, right? More and more data centers are being utilized, which means more energy consumption. So the energy consumption with our internet usage is also exponentially increasing, which means buildings are consuming more energy. So how do you make buildings more energy efficient is what I was working with. And then I wanted to kind of broaden my knowledge and, like, know more about policies and what countries are doing and how the negotiations are going between countries when it comes to climate change. And that's when I applied for this fellowship program, which is a collaboration between United Nations University and United Nations Climate Change Secretariat. And yeah, it's been great. I'm getting to learn a lot, meet a lot of different people from different sectors, from public sector. It's been great to meet you, Elsa, really. I have to say a really quick, I mean, I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I think I saw you first last year, and correct me if this is wrong, but this is when your organization won the SDG Action campaign. Was that last year, right? 2019?
That was last year.
Yeah,
And I was supposed to travel to Bonn this year too for the Action Festival, but unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't travel and it was completely online. Yeah. So last
yeah.
year I was in Bonn.
Yeah. So I actually no, I don't think we got to talk that time,
No, we didn't.
but I did see you receive the award, and I read a lot about Red Dot Foundation and Safe City initiative, and all of the great work that you're doing. And then coincidentally, this summer academy, I was so excited to be put in the group with you and learn from you. So this is great.
Thank you. That's serendipity. So, so why don't you tell our audience about the UN Summer Academy and how did you land up over there? I can definitely share after that how I landed up over there.
Yeah, no, so UN Summer Academy, this is something that happens every year. It's hosted by the UNSSC, the staff college, and it's generally hosted in Bonn, but this time obviously it was online because of the pandemic. This was my first year doing the Summer Academy, and I, at United Nations Climate Change Secretariat, help with the regional collaboration centers, and the one that I am supporting is the one in Dubai. It is based in Dubai. It is for Middle East and North Africa and South Asian countries, and different climate change related projects and initiatives that are going on in these countries. And so I was actually, we had to go through some internal process and then nominations and so on. And that's how I ended up at the Summer Academy. And it was great. It was such a great experience because we got to learn a lot. There were some very interesting presentations and all of that. But also, I think the best part was to meet different people from different sectors, from public sector, from international organizations, from the field of activism, and also the different NGOs. So it was great to kind of interact and collaborate with everyone. So what about you, Elsa? How did you end up in the Summer Academy?
So, I'm part of several German networks, including the Federal Foreign Office's Global Diplomacy Lab. And through that, we were invited to apply for some seats at the UN Summer Academy. And I applied and I didn't get through. And I decided to organize the Gender Alliance Summit on the 27th and 28th of August, which was the last 2 days of the Summer Academy. And then I get an email saying, okay, you didn't get through, but the state of Rhine-Westphalia, which is where Bonn is situated in, they have scholarships. So would you like to try through that? And I did, and I got through. Now I was in a dilemma. Should I accept it because I have this Gender Alliance Summit across 3 days, actually 26, 27, 28, all at 7 p.m. onwards, which meant that I would miss about half an hour of the last session. And I said, you know what, let's just go for it. And I felt so terrible during that week because whilst I was present for it, I just felt like, okay, what if I don't give it my best? But as you know, we did a lot of work and we also won one of those 3 movie awards. So, so for everybody, Supriya and I were in a smaller group with 4 others or 3 others, I can't remember. No, there are 4 others.
For
And we spoke, our topic was digital technologies, and we had to come up with a message, a 1 minute message that could be given to the leaders of the world on the 21st of September at the UN, United Nations, where they're all gathering online for the General Assembly. And so every team had to come up with one message, and ours came up with the one on digital divide focused on governance and accountability. And we had to create this little video ourselves. And we managed to do it all whilst I was also co hosting this Gender Alliance Summit. But it was fun. I met these amazing people, and we were the third winner. So there were 3 winners of this. These video awards, and now we've polished up the video and it's going to be sent to the world leaders, which is such a exciting thing. So yeah, what did you think of that whole experience of creating the video?
I think honestly, initially when we started, first of all, I have to say that the staff college did a very good job in also finding out different tools, and it's incredible all of these different tools that are available now in the times of COVID. Like there's something called Mural, and obviously we're using Zoom and other different things to kind of collaborate and come together and work on this idea and brainstorm really. And initially I was a bit hesitant. We had all of these time constraints, and like how are we going to figure out something in such a short period of time. But I think our group worked really well, and there were times when we were just digressing and going into discussing different things. I think all of us are also very passionate about what we were doing, so I think that was one of the reasons why we're going into conversations and going from one lane to the other. But in the end, I think it all worked out so well, and we've almost worked like a puzzle, pieces of puzzle just coming together. And I remember the last session that we had, we were like, okay, we were coming up with these specific lines and how the video would be made, and everyone had their great ideas that came together, and it was a great video. And I had such a great time collaborating with people from so many different places and different fields. And yeah, it was a great learning experience. How about you, Elsa?
That's why I think they say diversity brings out the best in people, because you're constantly challenging each other to think bigger, broader, and more specific. And what we were told, the feedback for our video was it was the most precise message. It had all the elements of a good message. And so it just goes to show that 1 minute is enough to convey what you really want to say. And also, yes, there were, I mean, everybody was from a diverse field, and we had picked the topic of governance and accountability, which is such a broad topic and yet could distill a very specific message. And yeah, shortly the video will be out, but do join us on Friday at 9 p.m. on Pin the Creep Twitter, where we are going to have a chat with this very wonderful group of people talking about the digital divide and why is it an important topic, especially during COVID, and using technology to bring about transparency in government and governance and accountability. So join us this Friday. It's going to be a fun tweet chat with Perla, Nadine, Rafael, Virinci, Supriya, and myself. So it's going to be real fun. So, Supriya, we have Venkatesh who has asked us a couple of questions. He says, as a climate activist, one question: how important is it to integrate science innovation projects right from school? Not many students are aware of UN climate change. How feasible, how feasible is it? Then he says a simple blog where kids can share ideas and researchers can explore it further. There are MIT climate collaborations, but ideas may emerge from anywhere. But the bridging is what's the problem. We can push it as an emergency, but again, it depends on the priority of the countries. And then he says it feels like Shyamalan movie. The happening is happening. I think it's more like the contagion. They were ahead of their time.
Yeah, well, no, I think Venkatesh brings up really great points. I think one of the big things that we also discussed during our group discussion during the summer academy is education, right? And it's just so important that kids learn and are aware of what is going on. At the end of the day, this is their future. They should be well aware, and you can. That is why you can see such great youth climate movements coming up, right? They're asking for their future to be safe, their climate to be safe in future. And so, for sure, integrating it into schools and education is extremely important. I think Venkatesh also brought up a point about just science and policy, and like the integration of science and policy. This is also something that we spoke extensively during the summer academy, because again, such an important point that all the policies that are being made should be backed by science, and not just in climate change but in so many different fields. So these are two very, very, very important points, and countries definitely need to do more. People need to do more. Educational institutions need to do more to integrate it into their curriculum. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for bringing those points, Venkatesh.
So, Priya, I know you have to catch a train shortly. So, a few questions. How do you keep yourself sane during this time?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, this has been definitely crazy months and so many different changes. I think it's so important to keep yourself positive and think of some of the good things that are happening as well. I think we're closing the digital divide, for instance, by so many more tools that are being innovated, right? So many different. Yeah, just so many different kinds of progress that is being made because our society is being pushed to do so because of this pandemic. So I think I always try to kind of pick some positive things that have come about because of this pandemic, where our society has been pushed to, like, no, have to find a solution to this, and we have been able to. And so, yeah, that definitely keeps me sane and positive. I think one of the things that I wanted to mention was also talking to friends, family regularly also really helps. I'm just someone who loves to check on friends and listen to friends and what's going on in their lives. So just doing that and getting to do that more and more has definitely helped me and kept me sane, especially when you live away from your family and things are getting like the number of cases are increasing so much in India. And so just checking on friends and parents and family and making sure everyone is good definitely keeps me sane.
And what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
That's a great question. Hmm. I think the advice I would give is to listen more. I feel like a lot of us have gotten into our bubbles and we are doing our own things, and have our own ideas and thoughts broken down, right? And then people are not listening to each other. And I think more and more in schools, probably we also need to tell people to just sit down, think, just attention to this conversation and listen to people. I think that is so important. I would like to be more receptive of those thoughts, and I hope that the 16-year-old me was also listening more, listening to more ideas, and absorbing as much information and as much diversity in thoughts and ideas that I could have. So, yeah, more of that.
Well, thank you so much, Supriya, for joining us this Sunday. I know it was a last minute request, but take care of yourself. Enjoy the last of summer in Germany and stay safe and healthy. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Thanks, Elsa, for inviting. No, I'm very, very, very glad to be here, and very happy to be talking to you today, and look forward to our Friday chat as well.
Yes, everybody join us on Twitter on Friday at Pin the Creep, 9 p.m. We are talking further on bridging the digital divide. Take care. Bye. Have a great
Thank
Sunday.
you. Bye bye. See you. Have a great day.